What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I'm here today to do a new installment in my Celluloid Grave Robbery series in which I talk to you about Blu-ray discs, cult classic movies, and whatever other pieces of cinema that could be stuck in my mind as of talking right now. First off, I want to say to those of you who had feedback to give me on the first episode of this new segment in my channel, I really do appreciate it. I know it's something different, something a little outside of the ordinary, but if I can talk about extreme metal on this channel, wouldn't hurt to talk about extreme cinema every now and then. And for today's segment, we are going to go to 1985 for probably one of my all-time favorite horror films. And I, of course, am talking about H.P. Lovecraft's Re-Animator. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, this is a 2018 edition put out through Arrow Video. Of course, Arrow Video is a very, very reputable studio when it comes to producing feature-length films, but also preserving and restoring classic sci-fi and horror films. Just an all-around great, great studio. I've had Re-Animator in physical format in multiple ways over the years, but let's read the back of the bio of this Blu-ray. When medical student Dan Kane advertises for a roommate, he finds one in the form of Herbert West. Initially a little eccentric, it becomes clear that West entertains some seriously outlandish theories, specifically the possibility of reanimating the dead. It's not long before Dan finds himself under West's influence and embroiled in a series of ghoulish experiments which threaten to go wildly out of control. Based on H.P. Lovecraft's classic terror tale, Herbert West Re-Animator, and featuring a standout performance from Jeffrey Combs as the deliciously deranged West, Re-Animator remains the definitive example of 80s splatter mayhem and one of the horror genre's finest hours. Yeah. I remember one of the first times I was watching this movie, of course you can't talk about Re-Animator without talking about the opening sequence of the university, and then going into the office to see this old man with white hair screaming and retching in agony, his eyes all bulging, and then blood shooting out of the eyes because he was dead at one point, but then he became reanimated by the ideas that Dr. West had. And then, of course, the score begins to amplify, and then there becomes the famous opening line of the movie, "You killed him!" "I did not. I gave him life." I can't get that image of Jeffrey Combs' face at the beginning of that scene, but anyway, of course, that then leads into the opening title sequence. Great classic opening title sequence and a musical score that is very much an homage to the classic Psycho score. I mean, I love the Richard Band score of that movie. Just it's such a Psycho ripoff, but it's done with such love, care, and tenderness. I mean, it's just a very, very awesome soundtrack all the way throughout. But then, of course, as the movie continues along, of course, you have the relationship of Dan Kane and wanting to find a roommate, and then coming across Herbert West, the girlfriend, who I should mention is played by Barbara Crampton, absolute iconic actress of horror movies, has some doubts about Herbert West, what his intentions are, what his ideas are, and then getting to know the Dr. Hill, I should say, the David Gale character. I mean, such a pompous-ass doctor. He thinks he knows everything, but Herbert West tries to always want to get the head up on him. He then becomes aware of the Re-Animator serum, and then wants to steal his ideas. And then, of course, Hill gets his head cut off with a shovel, and then he tries to reanimate him. And then "You bastard!" all that crazy, crazy stuff later on in the movie. I mean, I'm not going to spoil too much of this movie because, I mean, this movie's been around a very, very long time, and I'm pretty sure everyone who's ever been into horror films has seen this film in some way, shape, and form. 30 plus years later, this movie is still very much iconic in its every way, shape, and form. It's gory, it's schlocky, it's funny, it's dark, it's twisted. This movie crosses a lot of lines that I'm pretty sure you could still cross today, but back then, this was something very special. I mean, this movie is unaltered, unedited, just a lot of crazy, crazy things going on. The gore, the practical effects, the acting, the one-liners. It's just an incredible movie. And it just goes to show you the influence that H.P. Lovecraft has in the entertainment world, not just in music, but in movies. I mean, another movie that comes to mind would be In the Mouth of Madness. That is very much an H.P. Lovecraft-influenced sort of film. But this is taken directly from the H.P. Lovecraft works, and it just absolutely is crazy. If you've never seen Re-Animator, I would highly, highly recommend you give this movie a shot. If you're into schlocky 80s horror movies that are super gory, super funny, super over the top, I would highly recommend checking out Re-Animator. Of course, this movie was responsible for a whole bunch of other really great sequels. Bride of Re-Animator is really good. Beyond Re-Animator is not too shabby, but I would highly recommend the original and Bride of Re-Animator. But let me show you the Blu-ray case here. This is, of course, like I mentioned, the 2018 Blu-ray edition. This is the classic poster art. There you see Dr. Rest with the needle, Dr. Hill's head, Dr. Hill's body, information. Some really, really awesome extras on this Blu-ray disc. You have commentary from the director and producer, isolated score, documentaries, trailers, deleted and extended scenes, just a whole bunch of really awesome features, and probably the best I've ever seen this movie look with the 4K transfer. It is just absolutely beautiful. Of course, you open it up, and you see the Blu-ray disc itself. And as with most Arrow video releases, you have reversible sleeve art. There you see this really, really nice drawing of Dr. Herbert West with all the characters inside of his brain, which is a really, really, really cool touch. But yeah, this is a really great looking Blu-ray, a great sounding Blu-ray, and this is really the best I've ever seen Re-Animator look. But yeah, like I said, if you're into schlocky 80s horror, if you're into classic science fiction stuff, if you're into funny, dark comedy, Re-Animator is the movie to be checking out, and I would highly recommend that you look into this, stream this, buy this. This is a must-own. Re-Animator is the real deal. If you've ever seen this movie, let me know what you think about it and how you feel about it, and we can go from there. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until the next time, Army Hell out.